Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. This class is designed to walk you through some of the most commonly corrupted movement patterns and help you to fix those in order to start feeling well throughout the day. So what we'll do is we're going to start with some self-myofascial release or self-massage in order to loosen the tight muscles in your body. Then we're going to get into a workout routine that actually will teach you how to completely change the way that you move in order to feel well. I'm excited that you've joined us. Please like this video or subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, you're going to get notifications of when we do go live, as well as any new videos that we post. So you do those right now, that way we make sure we have them done. We'll see you in a little bit.
Carpal tunnel syndrome commonly is caused by forearm muscles that get overly tight and create compression on your carpals. We will start by working through the extensor digitorum, the extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis, and extensor carpi ulnaris. Start with the lacrosse ball in the upper part of the forearm. You'll notice when you make a fist and squeeze the knuckles up, the muscles will tighten in the upper part of the forearm near the elbow. Press down with the lacrosse ball and flex the wrist. Release pressure on the lacrosse ball, returning the wrist to extension or knuckles up. Repeat this process multiple times over the top side of the forearm in the extensors of the wrist. Do this at a brisk pace. An additional way to work this muscle tissue is by using your own forearm. Locate the flexors of the wrist by squeezing the knuckles up. Lay your arm across your knees and press your elbow into the tissue. Repeat, knuckles up, pressure on, knuckles down, pressure off. Continue this process through the muscle on the top of the forearm. The next group of muscle tissue that creates more pressure on the carpals as well is on the inside of the forearm. These are called the flexor carpi radialis and ulnaris and palmaris longus. Using a technique like the extensors, start with an open palm flexing your fingers towards the elbow as far as you can. After you put pressure down on muscle tissue, using your opposite elbow, open your hand, pointing your fingers to the floor as far as you possibly can. Lift the pressure, flex the wrist, bringing the fingers to the starting position. Continue this process for roughly 30 seconds in multiple spots, working briskly. The next area to focus on is the retinaculum. This is a ligamentous band around the wrist that keeps the tendons close to the bone. Oftentimes, the tendons underneath the retinaculum get adhered and make it very painful within the carpals themselves. Focusing on the retinaculum, glide the thumb up and down the entire band, spanning from the mid-wrist all the way into the base of the hand. Work vigorously with firm pressure for 30 seconds in order to break adhesions that lie deep within the carpals. Now it's time to perform a joint mobilization. You can see there are several bones that make up the carpal area of the wrist. We want to simply restore some range of motion to the carpals. Using your opposite hand, create a tight squeeze around the wrist and drag the hand away from the elbow as you hold the wrist. Begin to rotate the wrist in a big circle. Continue mobilizing the wrist for 30 seconds. Now we're going to create a stretch that's going to help the nerves communicate with the wrist. Sitting in a chair, press the shoulder down towards the floor. Rotate the thumb and wrist backwards, then flex the wrist and fingers up to the ceiling. Create a neural glide by looking down and away from that arm. Continue to form this stretch 30 to 60 seconds. To begin working muscles that are most affected by declarivans, hold your hand with your thumb straight up in the air. Then locate the tendon that is most superficial or on top of the wrist. This tendon will be controlled by a muscle that runs up the arm towards the elbow. I want you to contract the muscle tissue by flexing the wrist up and down while you press into the muscle tissue with your thumb. If this is too difficult to use your thumb, grab a lacrosse ball and place pressure directly onto the forearm using the palm of your hand. Remember to create this contraction 7 to 10 times, pressing straight into the muscle tissue near the elbow. Next, we are going to run pressure from the wrist up the forearm towards the elbow, creating a firm pressure driving up and stretching the tissue. Again, we can use the lacrosse ball and just roll up the arm, creating a release of that tissue. Carpal tunnel syndrome commonly is caused by forearm muscles that get overly tight and create compression on your carpals. We will start by working through the extensor digitorum, the extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis, and extensor carpi ulnaris. Start with a lacrosse ball on the upper part of the forearm. You'll notice when you make a fist and squeeze the knuckles up, the muscles will tighten in the upper part of the forearm near the elbow. Press down with the lacrosse ball and flex the wrist. Release pressure on the lacrosse ball, returning the wrist to extension or knuckles up. Repeat this process multiple times over the top side of the forearm in the extensors of the wrist. Do this at a brisk pace. An additional way to work this muscle tissue is by using your own forearm. Locate the flexors of the wrist by squeezing the knuckles up. Lay your arm across your knees and press your elbow into the tissue. Repeat, knuckles up, pressure on, knuckles down, pressure off. Continue this process through the muscle on the top of the forearm. The next group of muscle tissue that creates more pressure on the carpals as well is on the inside of the forearm. These are called the flexor carpi radialis and ulnaris and palmaris longus. Using a technique like the extensors, start with an open palm flexing your fingers towards the elbow as far as you can. After you put pressure down on muscle tissue, using your opposite elbow, open your hand, pointing your fingers to the floor as far as you possibly can. Lift the pressure, flex the wrist, bringing the fingers to the starting position. Continue this process for roughly 30 seconds in multiple spots, working briskly. The next area to focus on is the retinaculum. This is a ligamentous band around the wrist that keeps the tendons close to the bone. Oftentimes, the tendons underneath the retinaculum get adhered and make it very painful within the carpals themselves. Focusing on the retinaculum, glide the thumb up and down the entire band, spanning from the mid-wrist all the way into the base of the hand. Work vigorously with firm pressure for 30 seconds in order to break adhesions that lie deep within the carpals. Now it's time to perform a joint mobilization. You can see there are several bones that make up the carpal area of the wrist. We want to simply restore some range of motion to the carpals. Using your opposite hand, create a tight squeeze around the wrist and drag the hand away from the elbow as you hold the wrist. Begin to rotate the wrist in a big circle. Continue mobilizing the wrist for 30 seconds. Now we're going to create a stretch that's going to help the nerves communicate with the wrist. Sitting in a chair, press the shoulder down towards the floor. Rotate the thumb and wrist backwards, then flex the wrist and fingers up to the ceiling. Create a neural glide by looking down and away from that arm. Continue to form this stretch 30 to 60 seconds. To begin working the muscles that are most affected by querbands, hold your hand with your thumb straight up in the air. Then locate the tendon that is most superficial or on top of the wrist. This tendon will be controlled by a muscle that runs up the arm towards the elbow. I want you to contract the muscle tissue by flexing the wrist up and down while you press into the muscle tissue with your thumb. If this is too difficult to use your thumb, grab a lacrosse ball and place pressure directly onto the forearm using the palm of your hand. Remember to create this contraction 7 to 10 times, pressing straight into the muscle tissue near the elbow. Next, we are going to run pressure from the wrist up the forearm towards the elbow, creating a firm pressure driving up and stretching the tissue. Again, we can use the lacrosse ball and just roll up the arm, creating a release of that tissue.
All right, good morning. We are going to go ahead and get through our I dedicates. So going through these are big ones that we want to be praying for. Our big one for sure. Carol right now is getting her knee surgery done. So be praying for her as we go today, and then also as she gets out. Just, decent pain relief, making sure that she's taken care of there, but also, that the doctors really are focused on exactly how to put the things in, getting that hardware set, and then her body taking that hardware and making it all apart. So appreciate you guys praying for her through that, especially. Continuing to pray for Erin after her surgery with her foot and ankle, and then Lois down, taking care of her during this time, and then also the grandkids then, by way of being there. So let's see. Our verse of the day: the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. So there you go. We might be able to make a plan. Yeah. Sometimes he says, oh, good. We're kind of on the same path here. And then sometimes he says, hey, you need to turn around. You missed the why. You went the wrong way. So there we go. All right, let's go ahead and get hopping onto our core routine today. Remember, there's no real warm-up. We just get right into that routine. So make sure you compress that core nice and tight as we go. Okay, so remember, your hips shouldn't get tight on this at all.
3,
right? We're
2,
not using the hips to help.
Pelvic tilt.
This should be all in the core. Create that compression. Hold nice and tight, bracing that lumbar spine. Okay. Squeeze firm, firm, firm.
That's halfway.
Very good. Tight squeeze. Firm, firm, firm.
Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, tilt with knee fall out. So again, compress, brace that spine so the hips are connected to the ribs. As the knee goes out to the
3,
side,
2,
make sure you keep
1.
it compressed.
Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, usually what I see here, or the problem that I see, is when the knee goes out to the side, the hips will end up rolling with it. Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, I want just the hip joint to be going through its range of motion. Core compressed, tight, 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 tight. I'll be here. Tony.
That's halfway.
Just tell me. I'm playing if it's jump. Good, good, good. Tight squeeze.
Three, 2, 1.
Awesome.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay, here we go. We're going to do some adduction. So we add the roller between the knees. Remember, compress that core, then squeeze
3,
the knees together really
2,
tight.
1.
Release the knees,
Pelvic tilt with adduction.
then release the core. Remember, this is a staged procedure, right? So core is really tight, nothing else, just the core. Then squeeze the knees, release the knees, keeping the core tight, 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 then release the core. It should be very, very distinct for each movement. You don't want it to slur together. So when the knees let go, we don't want to just let go of the core as well. Okay, we should be able to continue to brace your spine through any action that the hip actually makes. So whether it's going out, in, up, down, doesn't matter. Core should be able to stay tight through that hip mobility. Good, ladies. Core compressed. Tight, tight, tight. And remember, we're light on the feet. They should not be pushing into the ground. They should be real light as you go.
3,
Still
2,
press
1.
firm. Nice and
Prepare
tight.
for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Tilt with your knee towards the chest. Really, that's a march, right? Just bringing one knee up towards the chest.
3,
and then
2,
back down.
1. Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Good core compression. March those knees. March the feet. Remember, as the knee comes up, I don't want those hips to kind of lift and shift on the floor, okay? It should stay really tight if your core is compressed, as tight as it should be.
That's halfway.
Good core compression. Tight, tight, tight. Squeeze firm. Awesome.
3, 2,
There you go.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Hey, tilt and bridge. Remember, as we do this one, this is the only one we get to use
3,
the butt and really
2,
squeeze. Okay,
1.
so core compressed.
Pelvic tilt with bridge.
Pinch the butt cheeks together like you're flattening a penny, nice and tight. Set back down and then relax your core. Okay, if when you set onto the ground you have an arch in your back, right, that's bad. We don't want the arch in the back. We want the ribs, the low back, and the hips to all touch the ground at the same time. Right? I think like lifting a piece of wood or lifting a piece of steel. Right? When I lift one end, all the pressure goes down to the other end. That's
halfway.
Right? So we should be lifting directly onto the shoulders, setting back down. No change in the core. Okay, so make sure you don't overextend either. That's one thing that happens here too, is we end up driving the hips too high towards the ceiling, creating the arch in the back. Okay, so make sure you stay in core compression.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Okay, good shoulder drops. Set them down and back first, right? Reach all the
3,
way down.
2,
Pitch them back.
1. Shoulder drop.
Into the floor, nice and tight. So as the arm goes overhead, remember you're relaxing all of your shoulder. And then as the arm returns back towards the ceiling, you want to pull that shoulder out of the ear. Okay? Get it down, 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 down. All the way back. So again, this is the setup that we use for the chest press or the row.
That's
Because we
halfway.
want scapular stability before we push or pull. Okay? So good squeeze, nice and tight. Do your absolute best. Very good, ladies. Getting through. Squeeze that core still. Compress, compress.
3, 2,
Awesome.
1. Prepare for dead bug. Three, two,
Here we go.
1.
Last one,
Dead
dead bug.
bug.
Remember, as you extend the leg, make sure the low back doesn't leave the floor. If you're overextending, you're going to feel this in the low back, and that's not what we want, right? If your back arches as your leg extends, that's bad, okay? We want to take that and compress to flatten it out, get it nice and tight, right? So that way we get a good firm squeeze through the core as you extend.
That's
okay?
halfway.
Again, re-squeeze that core. Press tight, tight, tight. We want to think parallel shins, right? Shins parallel to the floor. Call that a tabletop. And that start position. Again, shoulders down, back, out of those ears. Trying to create a nice tight squeeze through those ribs.
3, 2,
Good,
1.
good, good.
Long rest.
Awesome. Well, very good work, ladies. That's round one. So round two, let's try. We're going to just pull on the knees for every single exercise. Okay, except the bridge, obviously. But for every other exercise, we're just going to pull the knees towards the chest a tiny bit. We're just going to activate the hip flexors. And you should feel that force your core to work just a little bit harder. That's all we want, okay? Get that nice and tight.
Three, two, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt.
Good. Here we go. Get set up for
3,
that core squeeze.
1. Pelvic tilt.
And remember, put something under your back. Whatever it takes for you to think about that. You can think about a Dorito. You can think about a walnut. You can put a belt back there. But we're trying to crush the low back onto the floor. Okay. Then once you've got that squeeze down, gently start pulling. Your feet should not leave the floor, but just pull and see if it forces a change in your core. If that low back starts to bend and things are shaking and moving, you know the
That's
core is not
halfway.
tight enough and you need to squeeze harder. Okay? And if you can't get it, that's okay. It's just repeating it, doing it over and over and over, creating that demand until the body builds enough muscle to be able to do it. And eventually you will. Okay? It'll make sense and it'll just happen. Very good, ladies. Tight, tight squeeze.
3,
Press.
2, 1.
Very good.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fallout.
Okay, back to the fallouts. So again, as your knee goes to the side, re-squeeze the core. Once you hit your lowest point, re-squeeze the core, and then bring the knee back up.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee fallout.
It usually is when we create movement of any kind through the hips, the core loses some of the functions. That's what we're trying to prevent or we're trying to train ourselves out of, is as the knee goes out, we should be re-squeezing that core, creating nice tight compression. Okay? Firm squeeze, firm squeeze.
That's halfway.
Very good. Nice tight squeeze. Go back into that core. Try it again. Compress hard. All the way through. 10 seconds.
Three, two, one. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay. Tilt with adduction. So grab that foam roller. Remember, compress the core, squeeze the knees.
Two,
Just a little bit.
one. Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Taking some of the pressure off the feet, set the feet back down, release the knees, then release the core. So if you feel a little change in your core while you're pulling the knees up, like it gets tighter trying to work harder, that's the point I want you at on your initial squeeze. Okay, that's what we're trying to shoot for. So before you ever pull your knees, you should be squeezing as tight as you possibly can and then try to pull the knees. Okay, we don't want it to pick up slack just because we start pulling the knees towards the chest. We want it to actually stay firm or squeeze as firm as it possibly can right away. Okay.
Three, two, one.
Good.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest. Three, two, one. Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Good core compression, nice and tight. Squeeze firm.
That's halfway.
Good. Tight squeeze. As you march those knees, make sure the hips don't Rubik's Cube, lifting up, shifting and changing on the floor. Keep it nice and tight as you go through. Okay? All the way. Very good, ladies. Good.
Three, two, one. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Good. Pelvic tilt and bridge. So create that core compression first. Squeeze the butt cheeks together, creating the
Three,
okay?
two,
Tight,
one.
tight core.
Pelvic tilt with bridge.
Brace and then squeeze those butt cheeks. Tight. Remember, we're flattening a penny. Okay, and then here the feet should be about shoulder width apart, or maybe even just a hair wider, because I want those knees to really get almost outside the hips as we create that pressure down. Help create some more glute activation as we squeeze. Very good.
That's halfway.
Good tight compression. Firm squeeze. Try to keep those shoulders down. We're not rolling up, we're not crunching up. Core tight and compressed. Good. Do your absolute best all the way through.
2, 1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Good. Okay, shoulder drops. So first thing we do, right, get those shoulders all the way out of the ears, right, all the way down, but then also
2,
all the way back to the floor.
Shoulder drop.
Then we can put our arms up to the ceiling, go through range of motion, pull that shoulder back down. what we're really trying to work on this is learning scapular stability. So instead of the shoulder blades coming up and forward, we want to actually pull them down and back. That's going to take the shoulder joint and put it in a more appropriate location, so we're not creating a grind on some of the tissue that comes down and over the shoulder. That's what happens, is that muscle comes from
That's
here,
halfway.
goes down over the shoulder, and when I roll forward and I try to create movement, all it's doing is grinding on some of the bony end. So if I can pull this back and open that joint up, then I can go through range of motion and I'm not creating a grind. And that's why we work this so much, to make sure that you're getting your shoulders into a position where they can get healthy rather than continuing to create that grind, deteriorating muscle tissue.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for dead bug.
Awesome, dead bugs. Or you can do bird dogs. You do bird dogs, go
3,
cat or cow.
2, 1.
Nice
dog.
flat spine. Right? Don't let that change. Press that core as hard as you possibly can. Squeeze tight, tight, tight. As you extend the opposites, make sure you work on that balance. The core stays firm. Yeah, there should be no change in your low back. There should be no difference. Where you start is where you should finish. Again, especially if you're doing the dead bugs.
That's halfway.
So say my knee starts here. The farther out I go, like closer to the floor, the more tension I'm putting up at the hip joint. Okay? So if I need to, I might just go out a little bit and then back up. You don't have to extend all the way down to the floor. Okay? Keep that core nice and tight. Firm, firm, firm. Pull those shoulders back, down and back again. Almost there, ladies.
3, 2, 1. Long rest.
One more round to go, and we're there. Okay, last round. What are we doing, Marcia? We're hovering those feet. We're trying. Sometimes. You might start with 1 or 2 hovers and then just go back to, I'll just try pulling a little bit. But that's good. Whatever you can do, that's what I want you to do. Okay, so if you can do it and the core stays tight, you can start hovering those feet, hover the feet. If you can't hover the feet, that's fine. It's just a goal. It's what we're working towards.
Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt.
Ready for the tilts. I'm going to create that good tight core compression.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt.
We try to hover those feet. Again, you go to pull those feet all the way off the floor and just hover them, half an inch. The core should not change. I want you to pick up all the slack you possibly can before you ever lift those feet. Press tight, 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 tight. Do your absolute best. Maintain a braced spine.
That's halfway.
Good. So. Good. Tight squeeze, firm compression.
3, 2, 1.
Awesome.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Good, ladies. Knee fall out. So again, feet together on this one. Core nice and tight. Try to hover the feet and then go out to the side and back up. It's going to be
3,
really unstable.
2,
But that's fine.
1. Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Might need to shorten your range of motion. That's okay. Again, main focus on the core. Press, press, press. Keep that spine nice and tight. Your best. Very good.
That's halfway.
All Press, re-squeeze that core. Tight, tight, tight. As you go off to the side, the hips shouldn't shift. There should be no change at the waist. Core is so compressed. Good.
Three,
Good, ladies.
two,
All the way through.
one. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay, adduction. Grab that foam roller or use a pillow, whatever you've got.
And if you would like,
Just make sure you compress as tight as you possibly can.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Core tight. Squeeze hard. Knees tight. Squeeze hard. Lift the feet. Set the feet. Release the knees. Release the core. Okay, it should take a little while to get just one repetition done if we do every single one. Good. Ladies, do your absolute best.
That's halfway.
Awesome. Do your best, your absolute best. Chris, I take it you're still feeling okay after exposure? Good, good, good.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Okay. Tilt march. Keep those feet going. Don't let the hips shift side to side.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
And if you do try to get this one with both feet hovering, remember it's not a scissors kick with both knees moving simultaneously. Hover the feet, bring one up, back down. You might set both feet down, bring it back up to a hover, move the other knee up, back down, set down. If you keep them hovering, that's fine. Up, down to a hover, up, down to a hover. Okay? Your best. Again, all the while, go back to your core. Compress, squeeze. Firm, firm, firm. Good, ladies. Your absolute
3,
best.
2, 1.
Love it.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Great, tilt and bridge. Butt cheeks. Tight cheeks, tight cheeks.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with bridge.
Again, tilt and bridge. Remember, take good core compression as you create that lift. Butt cheeks should be squeezing tight, core is compressed. When you set down, the whole thing should set down at once. Okay, it's not kind of like a sticker peeling off the ground and setting back down. Right? It's just straight raise, back down. Raise up, back down.
That's halfway.
Good, tight squeeze. Firm, firm, firm. Cooled off, Marsha. You need to work even harder. Good work. Nice tight squeeze. Press firm.
3, 2, 1.
Solid, solid,
Prepare
solid.
for shoulder drops.
Awesome. Okay, shoulders, set them way down, way back. I want you
3,
to get the outside of your
2,
shoulder here,
1.
very outside.
Shoulder
All
drop.
the way back against the floor. Then raise your arms up. Again, if you have an acute stage of pain with your shoulders and you try to go up and it hurts, stop right where the pain starts. Okay, you don't have to go farther than that, but then try to reteach your brain that your shoulder's coming down and out of your ear. Okay, the more you train scapular stability, the more we're going to increase joint mobility. Okay, so that's why
That's
we train
halfway.
increase that range of motion. But again, it's not something you have to press into. It's just naturally, as you train the shoulder blade to work the right way, your shoulder joint has less wear and tear. Squeeze tight, tight, tight. Good squeeze.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for dead bug.
Very good, ladies. Dead bug or bird dog, either one. Just remember, no matter what, that low back should be braced
3,
and firm.
2, 1.
Change that.
Dead bug.
Firm compression, firm compression. Nice and tight. And extend those opposites. Hold that core firm all the way through. Again, with your bird dogs, don't overextend. If your low back leaves the ground, you know you've overextended. Okay? Squeeze again, push that core all the way firm to the floor.
That's halfway.
Tight compression, as firm as you can. Doing your absolute best through the movement. Good, ladies. Tight squeeze,
3,
tight squeeze.
2, 1.
Awesome.
Long rest.
Well, that finishes our core day. Very good work, ladies. We'll go back into the carpal tunnel work, and remember, if that tissue doesn't seem to have a problem, that's okay. Work it anyway, and just see if something shows up. If it does, great. You know you need to work on it. If not, wonderful. You know you're good. So no matter what, get through the SMR doing your absolute best through it. You're very welcome, Chris. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you again tomorrow for our final day of the week. I think this is my first full week that I've actually been here every day. Pretty crazy. Anyway, I look forward to it. I'll see you then. Remember, as always, I'm here to help you move well so you live well.
Carpal tunnel syndrome commonly is caused by forearm muscles that get overly tight and create compression on your carpals. We will start by working through the extensor digitorum, the extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis, and extensor carpi ulnaris. Start with a lacrosse ball in the upper part of the forearm. You'll notice when you make a fist and squeeze the knuckles up, the muscles will tighten in the upper part of the forearm near the elbow. Press down with the lacrosse ball and flex the wrist. Release pressure on the lacrosse ball, returning the wrist to extension or knuckles up. Repeat this process multiple times over the top side of the forearm in the extensors of the wrist. Do this at a brisk pace. An additional way to work this muscle tissue is by using your own forearm. Locate the flexors of the wrist by squeezing the knuckles up. Lay your arm across your knees and press your elbow into the tissue. Repeat. Knuckles up, pressure on, knuckles down, pressure off. Continue this process through the muscle on the top of the forearm. The next group of muscle tissue that creates more pressure on the carpals as well is on the inside of the forearm. These are called the flexor carpi radialis and ulnaris and palmaris longus. Using a technique like the extensors, start with an open palm flexing your fingers towards the elbow as far as you can. After you put pressure down on muscle tissue, using your opposite elbow, open your hand, pointing your fingers to the floor as far as you possibly can. Lift the pressure, flex the wrist, bringing the fingers to the starting position. Continue this process for roughly 30 seconds in multiple spots, working briskly. The next area to focus on is the retinaculum. This is a ligamentous band around the wrist that keeps the tendons close to the bone. Oftentimes, the tendons underneath the retinaculum get adhered and make it very painful within the carpals themselves. Focusing on the retinaculum, glide the thumb up and down the entire band, spanning from the mid-wrist all the way into the base of the hand. Work vigorously with firm pressure for 30 seconds in order to break adhesions that lie deep within the carpals. Now it's time to perform a joint mobilization. You can see there are several bones that make up the carpal area of the wrist. We want to simply restore some range of motion to the carpals. Using your opposite hand, create a tight squeeze around the wrist and drag the hand away from the elbow as you hold the wrist. Begin to rotate the wrist in a big circle. Continue mobilizing the wrist for 30 seconds. Now we're going to create a stretch that's going to help the nerves communicate with the wrist. Sitting in a chair, press the shoulder down towards the floor. Rotate the thumb and wrist backwards, then flex the wrist and fingers up to the ceiling. Create a neural glide by looking down and away from that arm. Continue to form this stretch 30 to 60 seconds. To begin working the muscles that are most affected by clairvoyance, hold your hand with your thumb straight up in the air. Then locate the tendon that is most superficial or on top of the wrist. This tendon will be controlled by a muscle that runs up the arm towards the elbow. I want you to contract the muscle tissue by flexing your wrist up and down while you press into the muscle tissue with your thumb. If this is too difficult to use your thumb, grab a lacrosse ball and place pressure directly onto the forearm using the palm of your hand. Remember to create this contraction 7 to 10 times, pressing straight into the muscle tissue near the elbow. Next, we are going to run pressure from the wrist up the forearm towards the elbow, creating a firm pressure, driving up and stretching the tissue. Again, we can use the lacrosse ball and just roll up the arm, creating a release of that tissue.